Okay, I'm going to talk about the big news of the week. Is that TNA iMPACT is going to be filming a live show next month on March the 27th. As far as my opinion on this, I'm not really sure what to make of it yet, actually. I think this could be a very good thing for TNA. It could also very easily be a bad thing. It could be good because one of the big problems that I have with iMPACT right now is that the show looks so over-edited. They're constantly cutting from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. And the segments never really have a chance to breathe. They don't linger on anything long enough for it to resonate with the audience. When one thing happens before it even has a chance to sink in, they're immediately cutting away to something else. And the result is that the segments just end up bleeding into each other a lot of the time, and I just don't like it. It doesn't flow naturally. And a lot of the time they even film the segments out of order, specifically so they can edit the show together like this. And if they're going to start filming iMPACT live, it could hopefully eliminate this, by forcing them to slow things down, take their time a little bit more. So this could potentially be a big boon for them. But on the other side of that coin, TNA is still at a point in its development where it might still need that post-production crutch to stand on. I know a lot of people believe that the only reason the show looks as good as it does is because of the various post-production stuff that goes into it. And if they don't have that, I worry about what might happen. WWE had a fair amount of production glitches on the first HD Raw show, and their production runs like a well-oiled machine. TNA still has a long way to go to catch up to WWE in that area. So, for them to make a move like this, I don't know if there's any telling how good or bad it could go. I think it's all really going to hinge on whether or not TNA is doing this for the right reasons. If they're going live because they're confident that they as a company are ready to make that next step, then I say go for it. But if they're just rushing into something that they're not ready for so they could take a crack at sticking it to the WWE when they come to Orlando for WrestleMania weekend, they could be potentially shooting themselves in the foot by doing this. And I know Jeff Jarrett is really anxious to go head-to-head and compete directly with Vince McMahon, but my advice as far as that goes is, Jeff, don't get ahead of yourself yet. I think they absolutely should do something when WWE shows up for Mania, but it should be something low risk, so that if it doesn't go well, at least they don't embarrass themselves. I was going to suggest something like when WWE put DX in a tank and sent them to invade Nitro. Maybe they could send some of the TNA stars and a camera crew to set up shop across the street from the Citrus Bowl, parking lot on the day of the show, maybe get on a megaphone, hand out TNA flyers and free merchandise, anything to divert people's attention. And if they really wanted to get nuts, maybe they could burn the WWE logo in effigy or something. That would definitely get people talking. But something like this, I really don't know. There's a ton of X factors to consider, and it could go well, but it could also be a huge embarrassment for TNA if it doesn't. So I'm definitely nervous about this announcement. I'm hopeful at the same time, but until we get more information, I'm labeling this one as a wait and see. But the bottom line is, it's going to happen. And if TNA is dead set on doing this, they might as well do it right. First of all, now that the decision has been made to do this, make the official announcement on the very next iMPACT taping, and then start building up to that show immediately. Build it up in the promotion, build it up in the storylines. Then when it comes time for the big show, go completely balls to the wall. Treat it like a pay-per-view event. Have a super card with a bunch of dream matches like Clash of the Champions. Don't just throw them out there just for the hell of it. Build up to them, like I said before. Make them seem important. Make the show feel like it is can't miss. Go over the roster. Put together the card based on the guys that you know are going to deliver the best matches possible. I don't want to see Black Rain on this show. I don't want to see VKM. I don't want to see Bullet Bob Armstrong. I don't want to see Relic. Put those guys on the shelf for at least this one show. Things that I would like to see are some things that Bill and Doug mentioned in their latest TNA Addicts audio podcast. A Four Corners elimination match for the X Division title, like we used to get all the time back in '05, and I do not want to see Scott Steiner in this match, for reasons that I've stated before, okay? You got Jay Lethal, you got Kazarian, P.D. Williams, Sanjay Dutt. You could also put Jimmy Rave, Homicide, or Curryman in there if you wanted to change it up a little. Also, I would like to see the Motor City Machine Guns challenge AJ Styles and Tomko for the tag team titles. Bill and Doug suggested the Guns having a match with LAX to determine the number one contenders, but I'd actually prefer it if they saved that match for later. The Guns already beat AJ and Tomko in a non-title match not too long ago, so they should be first in line for a title shot anyway. And the Guns versus LAX is a definite money feud waiting to happen. So I think TNA ought to hold off on that one until one of those teams wins the tag titles to make the feud mean more. Another thing they should absolutely have Matt Morgan's in-ring debut on this show, not necessarily against Kevin Nash, because that probably wouldn't be that good of a match, but they should definitely use this as a launching pad for Matt Morgan, especially given the breaking news that Morgan's going to be joining the cast of American Gladiators next season. And that's huge exposure for TNA on a major network television, and they should milk that for all it's worth. Oh, and I would then like to see a Gail Kim Awesome Kong ODB rematch from Destination X. Oh, that's a definite no-brainer, because those women are drawing the biggest ratings of pretty much every show, so they should absolutely have a big role in this event. Maybe have a #1 contender match for the Knockouts title. Definitely put Roxy Laveau in there, Angelina Love if she's recovered from her concussion by then. Maybe Peyton Banks, maybe even Raisha Saeed. If you know who she is under that burqa thing, then you know she's tough as hell, and she can have some great matches if they just turn her loose. So I'd like to see that as well. Plus a confrontation between Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle in the Six Sides of Steel, like Bill and Doug said, but don't make it a contract signing, okay? TNA's beaten that horse to death these last few weeks, and if people see another one, I think they might just get bored and tune it out. Make it just like a really intense one-on-one confrontation to hype up their match at Lockdown, like the one Brock Lesnar and Eddie Guerrero had right before Eddie won the world title. Make it look like there's just nothing under the sun that Angle can do to stop Samoa Joe this time. Also, they could maybe have Sting make an appearance on the show. I mean, the guy is just sitting at home collecting a paycheck right now, and Dixie Carter's paying an arm and a leg to keep him on the roster for some reason, so they might as well have him show up for a big important event show like this. And finally, have another 8-man or 10-man tag as the main event. TNA's had a lot of luck in the past with these types of matches, and when they have them close the shows, and I don't know why they don't do them more often, because they're almost always awesome, with very few exceptions. As for things I do not want to see on this live Impact show, things that could prevent this show from being great, I don't want to see any ladder matches, okay? Same deal as with the contract signings. TNA has had so many of these things recently that it just wouldn't feel special at all no matter what they did. I don't want to see any pole matches either. That's just on general principles. I want Karen Angle's involvement to be kept to a bare minimum. I want Dustin Rhodes, Relic, BG James, and Kip James to have the night off. Give them a couple bucks, send them to a strip club or something. I don't care. But just keep their ratings-killing asses off this show at all cost. And that's just a couple of things I could mention. Anyway, bottom line, I read that TNA is hoping to hit the 1.3 mark in the ratings with this show. And if TNA wants that to happen, they've got to make an absolutely huge deal out of this thing. Pull out all the stops, make it a can't-miss event. Give it a level of importance, and this is not an exaggeration, equal to that of their big 3 pay-per-views. Lockdown, Slammiversary, Bound for Glory, first ever live Impact. So, anyway, whether it goes well, whether it doesn't, if nothing else, it's going to be worth watching. So, mark your calendars, you guys. TNA goes live Thursday, March the 27th. Be sure to check it out.